Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will explain you how to set up your first project in Jira in a minute. I'll show you how to get a trial version access and create a working project in Jira step by step. So we'll follow two steps. Here in first step, we will be signing up the account, and in the second step, so we will be creating a new project and we'll create a user stories on the board. So first you open your browser and search with the Jira login. Then here you can see the Jira website. So click on this project management tool. So here you need to register first. For that, get free trial access. Then sign up here. So I'll be logging in with or sign upping with a Gmail address. Okay, so I'll be using my Gmail account. So we will be mentioning a name. So I'll name it a first project. Okay, I'll mention username instead of that. Okay, continue. So here you need to mention your site. So if you have your own website host name, so you can mention it. Otherwise, so we can customize it. I'll name it as RPA Lithium 25. Okay. So then continue. So when you click on continue, so it will ask you some questions. So what kind of work do you do? So I'll be selecting, software development. So we'll be setting a Jira board for a software development. So I selected a software development. So mainly when we talk about the software development, so we will be having a multiple task. So it might be a bug tracking or a story tracking or running a sprint or running a scrum. So all these tasks we'll be doing it. So we will be selecting uh, all the options, which is prioritizing this work, managing the task, mapping the dependencies. These all tasks we'll be doing as part of project planning. So I'll select all the options, then continue. When I continue, so it asks you to give your project name. Okay, so I'll give it as my first project. So you can give your project name, whatever you would like to. So I given a name as first project and get started. So normally when we talk about Jira board, right? What type of work we are doing? That is what we will be tracking in the Jira board. So we'll be tracking a task which is assigned to a developers or stories and even features, requests and bugs. All these options we'll be using in the Jira board. So we'll be selecting all the options and click on next. Then status what we wanted. So whenever we have a development, so first we'll be refining the user stories. Then so we will keep under the to do column. Then after if developer start picking those user stories and if they start working on those user stories, then the status changes to in progress. So after in progress, so the once the developer is completed, someone will be reviewing that particular user stories, right? So those will move to in review queue. Okay, after in review queue, so then if we are moving to test environment, so we have to add the status, which is like testing, test or SIT. Okay, um, or you can mention so a test or SIT, and it's done. So done is nothing but once testing is completed, so we will mark that particular user story as done. Okay. So you can add as many as status you can. Okay. Or you can change this particular status, and here you can see how this particular project is looks like. So the project board, what are the project board will be, our first project is the name of the board, then we'll be having a to-do list, then in progress list will be having in review, test or SIT, and done. So these are the columns will be displaying on the board. Okay. Then next I'll click on finish. Okay, so it is getting the no, our project board is getting ready. So I'll just accept this caches, and here you can see um, our board is ready. Okay, the Scrum board is ready. The board name is, the first project is a board name, and here you can see backlogs. So on the top here, the project name or a board name, yeah, board name is displaying, and you will be having a summaries. So how many tasks is completed, how many is created, so which and all due, all those detail will be shown under the summary, and also the graphs. So your project graphs you can see here. And backlog, so backlog is the one, so whenever user stories are created and which are not refined, okay, so those comes under the backlog. So the stories are created and as well as refined, both will be there under the backlogs. So then after user story is created, so we what we'll do, so we will be moving these user stories from backlog to sprint, active sprint. Okay. So every time, so we'll be having a sprint. So every 2 weeks we'll be two for 2 weeks we'll creating one sprint. So so we'll be dividing our user stories into the multiple sprint. So example, we have 100 user stories. So for all 100 user stories, so we will divide those user stories in a multiple sprint. So for 100 user story, let's consider, we'll consider 20 user stories in a sprint. 20 user stories in a sprint means we'll be running a 5 sprint. So in each sprint there will be 20 user stories will be developed and delivered in that particular sprint. Okay. So those comes under sprint. So currently we don't have created any sprint and backlog user stories. So I'll be explaining those, how we will create a user stories, and how we will move those user stories from backlogs to active sprint, or we how we'll plan the sprint. So all those things I'll be covering it. Okay. And apart from that, if you see our board, okay. So if you see our board, so we have a to-do column. Under the to-do columns, you can see the user stories which are not even picked by any developer, and it is not started. It's just assigned user stories you can see, but the no developer is started working on. So in progress is nothing but the stories which already developer started working on it. So they started working on the development. So in review is nothing but, so once the development is completed, the stories will be moved to in review, where architect will be reviewing it, those user stories. Okay. Or architect or your peer one will be reviewing it, and and they will give a approval. So it's kind of like technical review they will be doing it. So once the technical review is completed, so we'll move those particular user stories for testing. So where testing team will be testing it. Then once the testing is completed, then those user story will be marked as completed. Or we can add an extra column here, which is related to in UAT, or or in UAT testing, or like complete or like a production deployment. So ready for a production deployment. Those extra columns we can add it here. Okay. As many columns we can add, that is so it depends upon project. So as many columns we required, we can add it. Okay. And also we can mention the timeline here. So if any sprint to be completed within a week or a month, the complete project timelines we can maintain under the timeline tab. Okay. And so we have a um, pages, project pages. So if you have any pages or a Confluence pages related to your project, those you can maintain under the pages tab. Okay. So we have a forms. So if anything like you want to maintain a forms, so to track your work or to track your request, then you can use this particular form tab. Okay. Okay, that's all for this video. So in the next video, I will explain you how we can create backlogs, and I'll explain you so how we can create a user stories, and and we can and we can put it on the board. Okay. So thank you for watching this video. See you next video.